If you look at the decoration of the room, everything is red. In traditional Chinese weddings, red symbolizes happiness, luck, and prosperity. That's why it tends to be the dominant color at weddings.
In the Parkview Green shopping mall, contemporary art sits alongside luxury clothing. This is where the workshop and sales outlet of designer Nei Tiger can be found. It's the first Chinese brand to have established itself in the very closed, very Western world of high fashion. Like all Chinese designers, Nei Tiger devotes a special part of his collections to the wedding dress, which in China is not white, but red.
Who made this dress? What is it? Sequins?
Yes.
They're not good quality. They'll get damaged too easily. This part isn't well made. Cover the embroidery. Don't worry, just tell him to rework the dress and make it lighter. I'd like to try it out. Don't be afraid of having a few fittings. This is really too much. Clients come to us, we talk to them about their plans. We start to make sketches. Then, depending on their name and Chinese astrological sign, we develop a completely personalized gown. This is the sewing workshop. Once the pattern is ready, we begin to prepare the finished product. All the patterns are produced in the workshop. Here, all the sewing and embroidery is done by hand. That's how we make our dresses. Chinese wedding dresses have a long history, having been around for 3,500 years, while the Western wedding dress is barely 200 years old. We have more experience in this area. I adore designing wedding outfits inspired by Chinese tradition. They're loaded with history, culture, and artistic elements. It allows me to employ a range of techniques, such as silk needlepoint, brocade, embroidery, or the use of crystals and sequins. Here, for example, is a traditional Chinese wedding dress. And here is a suit for a man, which can be worn with pants. And this is a more classical type of wedding dress. Generally speaking, for weddings or Chinese New Year celebrations, for example, everyone wears red. The color red is always accompanied by embroidery or more sophisticated gold-colored decorations. This traditional dress is called kunggua. You can see dragons and phoenixes, along with many other classical patterns. There's gold, silver. The pattern with bats is frequently used. In China, the bat is a symbol of happiness because its pronunciation is similar to the word happiness. See all those bats? They represent happiness here and here. It brings luck. It's a traditional symbol. I love my job, and I particularly enjoy designing wedding outfits. Marriage is the beginning of everything, between two people who have decided to seal a union. Their love then produces a family, and thus a new generation. That's why I regard my line of work as the most beautiful job in the world. I'm so happy to be able to work in this field and play my part.
Ney Tiger's work carries on the long tradition of ancient know-how found within a city that proudly maintains its position as the cultural capital of China. While Beijing is the country's cultural and administrative center, Shanghai is the economic capital of China. This decorative riverside area, known as the Bund, symbolizes the city's incredible growth. Behind these modern facades lurks probably the most European city in China, filled with neighborhoods on a human scale, where all layers of the population mingle. For the majority of Chinese, Shanghai is much more than a city. It stands for change, future prospects, and sophistication. Naturally, Shanghai is the place for many couples to come to get married. As a rule, weddings take place in hotels, and families buy turnkey weddings where everything from food to decoration, right through to the wedding ceremony, is handled by a mistress of ceremonies. Yan Hu has been organizing weddings for 15 years. His company is called The Red.
If you look at the decoration of the room, everything is red. In traditional Chinese weddings, red symbolizes happiness, luck, and prosperity. That's why it tends to be the dominant color at weddings. Here, we have objects that will be used in the ceremony. This is the red ribbon, of which the bride and groom will each hold an end to begin the ceremony. And that's the red scarf that will hide the bride's face when I present her to the groom. This red scarf is one of the most important objects in a Chinese wedding ceremony.
In traditional weddings, the bride's dress is often decorated with golden dragons, the Chinese symbol of power and success.
We love the color red because it is so festive. Nowadays, so many couples marry in the Western style. We really wanted a traditional Chinese wedding.
Once the photos are finished, the ceremony can begin. The bride arrives on stage, hidden in a palanquin. The ceremony is very lively and festive. The ritual is made up of a series of vignettes, solemn moments, and addresses from parents and the happy couple to the guests. The ceremony ends with the bride and groom drinking what is known in China as the happy wine. There then follows a banquet, the splendor of which, as in the West, says a lot about the wealth of the two families.
There we are, the union is celebrated. As the mistress of ceremonies, I'm very pleased and happy. It all went off very well, and it is always moving to accompany a young couple on one of the most important days of their lives. Anyway, if you ever want a traditional Chinese wedding, don't hesitate to come to Shanghai. See you soon.
Mm-hmm.